Good morning. Today in LA, I am Bill Rice, substituting in the Great One's chair this morning. Mike Amos is joining us from his beach house in Panama City Beach on the phone. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Good morning to y'all. And you're right, I'm sitting here having a hot cup of coffee, looking out over the Gulf of Mexico. It's beautiful this morning. The sunrise is beautiful, and I'm ready to pick some games whenever we get around to it. Bill, I appreciate you being there, and of course, this show's brought to you every week by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. And Jason, the guru, is sitting next to you. He's getting to be pretty good at picking games, Bill.
He is, and his team has got one of the biggest games of the year Saturday. We'll talk about Auburn, Florida, I'm sure, longer than any other game. But yes, I'm joined by Jason Gregory of Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep. Jason, good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
And Jason does stuff first class and unique. I can tell that since I've moved back to Troy and everything I've heard. And to make this pick and show even more interesting, folks, we are going to give away a Yeti cooler, which is the finest cooler on the market, to a winner of a trivia question. We've got a good trivia question. When we get to the trivia question, the first person that calls in with the right answer will win that Yeti cooler. All right, let's put Mike on hold. Okay, Jason, you help me. Then we go to right here. You there, young Mike?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to try to put you, then I go to conference. And then I go back to there. All right, you hear me, Mike?
I got you.
All right, then we go to, let's see,
We got
conference. Mike Amos Sr., you there?
I am on. Yes, sir.
All right, so we got both mics. Did y'all see that first time I ever tried to man the phone system with the help of Jason? I got it. That's a good sign. So now we've got Mike.
Good morning to you.
Let me introduce them. We've got Mike Amos in Grayton Beach, Florida. Mike Amos in Panama City Beach, Florida. So the Amoses know how to live. And then Bill Rice in Troy, Alabama, and Jason Gregory in Troy, Alabama.
Sounds like a good team to me. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Today is Friday, everybody's favorite day, but it's also homecoming at my alma mater, Charles Henderson High School. I was just telling Jason that a tradition that homecoming week apparently is for students to roll the yards of teachers. And so we were the lucky teachers and husband that got hit last night. So I woke up this morning with toilet paper all over my yard. So I got some free toilet paper out of the deal.
Was it Elise Sharman?
We're going to find out. Yeah, I think.
Hey, they saved the good stuff with the other teacher down the street.
Well, I've noticed that we're not the only people that have been hit. So it happened last year too. So I guess it just comes with the territory. We'll laugh about it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But today is homecoming and the parade. Yesterday, I said I thought it was on Thursday. I was wrong. The Charles Henderson homecoming parade is this afternoon, and the Troy City schools get out early so everybody can go to the parade. And then the football game tonight against Greenville.
I think that parade's at 3 o'clock, at least it's normally at 3 o'clock from downtown Troy.
Gosh, how many times have you covered that parade, Mike? And you're
a bunch of times. Sometimes you blink and it's over with, but usually it's a pretty nice parade, and a lot of kids get involved in it. That's the fun part of it. And Jason, I'm sure you probably done it, and I know Rice, I know you've done it if you live in Troy. Is during the week is decorating for the parade. Everybody's all go out every night during the week and have a party and decorate floats.
Decorate the floats. When I was in school, we had exhibits that were on the grounds of the campus. I was the class president my freshman year, and so the class president is in charge of the homecoming exhibit.
Oh, wow.
Boy, that was a nightmare. I could tell you a 10-minute horror story about my management style. That was a complete disaster for the freshman class of 1983. And then the other thing we did, Mike, I remember, is we used to paint windows of downtown businesses. So I wonder if they still do that.
Yeah, I remember all the girls in our class would do that.
Yeah.
So what's been going on at Premiere this week, Jason?
Man, we've just been selling cars. Man, as fast as we can stock them, we've been moving.
Of course, Mike Amos is leaving today to head to Columbia, Missouri, not Columbia, South Carolina, which he has mentioned all week. You excited about going to see the Trojans play, Dad?
Oh, yeah, I really am. And of course, we're flying into St. Louis, and, that'll be a nice little visit there. And,
yeah, St. Louis broke my heart yesterday as they came back and beat the Braves. But what else is new? The Braves lose again in the playoffs yesterday, 7-6. Also, Georgia Southern and South Alabama went to double overtime. South Alabama was winning in regulation up by 7. Georgia Southern scores a late touchdown in the fourth quarter to put in overtime. And then Georgia Southern misses a field goal in overtime, so all South Alabama needs is a field goal, and they get their field goal blocked in overtime, in the first overtime. And then in the second overtime, South Alabama fumbles, and all Georgia Southern has to do is kick a short field goal, and Georgia Southern wins 20-17.
You know, when you're having a rough season, it seems like you do everything you can to lose ball games. I mean, I think South Alabama is in that position. That's a tough loss. I did see it in
Mobile, Michael. They played Mobile.
Yeah, it's played it loud.
With about, what would you say, Mike, about 2,000 fans there?
Yeah, not a whole lot of fans. Of course, South Alabama's got a brand new football stadium starting next year. I don't know if Steve Campbell will still be the coach when that happens, though.
Well,
South Alabama falls to 1-5. Of course, their next opponent will be the Troy Trojans.
On a Wednesday night, Jason, Wednesday night week. Wouldn't that be that? It would be Wednesday week.
That's right. Not this coming Wednesday, but the next Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, they got a bye week that's coming up.
Of course, everybody's talking about Auburn, Florida. That's the game of the week. Auburn travels to the Swamp. Will be a 2:30 kickoff on CBS. I'm leaning heavily towards Auburn right now. Auburn's playing really good football.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about preview it a little bit. Auburn has been my team of the year since before the season. I thought they were going to be a lot better than people thought, especially if they got some good momentum with a first win against Oregon, which they did. That was important. And it looks to me that they're getting better every week, Jason. Last week, Bo Nix surely had his best game.
Oh, by far. You know, being an Auburn alumni, you've seen the good years and you've seen the bad years, and you know, obviously this year was a year for Gus to either make it or break it. And like you said, that first game was key, and it just seems like every week they're getting better and better. So,
you know, my take on Auburn, and I bet you'll agree too, is that when Auburn gets going and has these good seasons, they get better throughout the season. You had 2010 with Cam, where they definitely got better. Then you had 2013 with Marshall, where they beat Alabama in the kick six and come one play from winning the national championship. Should have won the national championship. Then they have 2 years ago, everybody forgets that Auburn loses some early games, and then they get on a roll, throttle Georgia in Auburn. Then they beat Alabama pretty handily. And I would say after that Alabama game that Auburn was playing the best football in America at that time. Kerryon Johnson got kind of hurt.
that's right.
So I think this could be another one of those magical years for Auburn.
You know, I'll tell you something else, too. It's a big guy, that big fullback doesn't get hurt. He weighed about 270, and he played fullback. If he doesn't get hurt, Auburn might win a national championship then. Don't you agree, Mike?
Well, you're not talking about a fullback. You're talking about the running back, Kerryon Johnson, aren't you? The place for the
No, I'm talking about a big fullback, Mike.
In 2000,
what fullback got hurt?
Oh, God.
he was the transfer from Wisconsin that was.
The kid from Montgomery, he works coaching football in Montgomery now.
Oh, you're talking about Petaway. Petaway was a fullback. He was a running back.
Don't you, Jason? You know, when Petway got hurt, before he got hurt, they had him and
Kerryon Johnson in the backfield together.
That's right.
And that was almost unstoppable.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, he got in the coach's doghouse at Auburn, though, and his career kind of ended.
Yeah.
You know, he was kind of like the running back for Alabama that was so good for a couple of games, and then he just disappeared. Just got cut by Seattle and played for Dallas.
Yeah, you talking about Bo Scarborough?
Bo Scarborough, yeah. Petway was kind of like Scarborough. He had his moments.
I tell you what, that was a great pro game last night. I don't know if you got to watch Seattle, and the LA Rams came down to the wire. Seattle won 30-29, and the Rams missed a 44-yard field goal to win the game. But man, not Russell Westbrook, but Russell Wilson, Seattle's quarterback, had a phenomenal game. That was a fun game to watch.
I rarely watch the NFL, but I watched a lot of that. It was a good game. All right, y'all, let's start.
We got all the high school games going on. I guess the biggest high school matchup of the week is going to be Pike County and Providence Christian, two teams that went I guess Providence Christians went to the third round. Pike County went to the second round of the playoffs last year. Pike County beat them last year. That's really the game of the week.
Yeah.
And you got Luverne Goshen as well, which is a huge game.
Well, nothing gets bigger than Luverne and Goshen. You're right. Pike County and Providence is huge, but Goshen and Luverne is maybe the game of the year. I was talking to Forrest Lee yesterday, who used to teach and coach it in Goshen. He told me that he thinks that both Goshen and Luverne are potential candidates to play for a state championship. And they'll probably play this year, and it's very likely they could meet again in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
I tell you, the team I saw, that Luverne team I saw beat Friends, that's what Friends is 1A, was physical. They're a talented team. So I think this team's better than the Luverne team last year that played for the championship and got beat by 5.
All right, let's go to it. I'm going to start us off. I love Goshen, and I've been picking them all year, but Luverne, playing at Luverne is the key, and in a close game, I'm going to go with Luverne. Now let's go to the two Amoses. Big Mike, what do you think about Goshen and Luverne?
I like Luverne at Luverne. This game's played in Goshen, I'd take Goshen.
Okay. Little Mike.
I'm going to go with the friendliest city in Alabama, Luverne.
Okay, I'm going to put...
Home of the what, Mike? Home of the what?
The friendliest city, isn't that their son?
Yeah. It is the friendliest city.
The largest peanut ball in the world.
All right, Jason, this is a big one.
Yeah, I'm going to buck the trend here. I think Coach Niner's got it going on this year, and I think he's going to have those guys fired up, ready to go. Plus, it's a little bit closer to hometown for us. Mm-hmm. So I'm going with Goshen.
That's what winners are made of, as somebody once said.
Jason, you sound like you're talking to your sales crew, man. Fired up, get fired up.
Hey, you got to. Games like this.
Y'all do rah-rahs before y'all get started every morning. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Jason,
like Walmart.
Jason just wants to be able to go to the barn again.
The barn and Mimi's.
That's right. I agree.
All right, the next one is just as big, homecoming. It's a bigger rivalry in Charles Henderson history as probably anybody, going back 70 years. Greenville at Charles Henderson High School. I hate to do it. I've been picking Charles Henderson all year, but I'm in the running for winning the state dinner at the end of the year. Greenville's tough. Charles Henderson's getting better, but I'm going to pick Greenville. Let's go to Big Mike.
I like Charles Henderson. Something I told you yesterday that we were talking about this rivalry, and of course Charles Henson's got talent, and they've got big guys up front on offense and defense. Well, they've had several injuries, so what they did, they made themselves a better team. You know, they were playing these guys just one way. Well, they took all those good, big, fine defensive linemen, and they put them now on the offensive side of the ball and playing them both ways. This is going to be a good Charles Henderson team. I think they turned the corner here. They're going to beat Greenville.
Well, I hope you're right. All right, Little Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at this game a little bit. Greenville's lost, a few few more games than normal and lost to some really good teams. I think Greenville's just a little bit ahead of Charles Henderson right now. I know Bry's trying to build a program. He's been there 5-6 years. Of course, he's coming off 3-7 last year, and I think they got a better team this year, Charles Henderson, but I'm going to go with Greenville.
Okay, you're going with me. All right, Jason?
Yeah, but I got to stay local. I'm going with Charles Henderson. I think they're going to find a way to pull it out. It's homecoming. It's at home. Hey, there's a lot riding on this game.
Mike, wasn't this is a game where the Columbus Patman caught the duck? Greenville?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I tell that story all the time to people since remember, it happened in 1957. There was a duck flying around that. It was rainy, and there was a goose that was flying around the stadium. And this guy, Columbus Patman, who was raised out of the Alabama Baptist Children's Home, ran out of the huddle, reached up in there, and grabbed the goose and ran it over to the Trojan sideline. That was a memory that will always be cherished.
60 years later, people are still talking about it. My dad was on that team, and I've always heard the duck story, but Mike says it was actually a goose.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if you're aware, but your dad was the trivia question to win the Yeti Cooler last week, Bill.
Oh, no, I was sick with pneumonia. What was the trivia question?
Mike Amos, you get the trivia question. What was it?
All right, who is the guy from Troy that started at both ways at Alabama in 1961 and coached Bryant's first national championship team at Alabama?
And somebody actually got it?
It so happens that the girl that called Mother was Dr. Buddy Brantley, who played on the same team with your dad, and she won the Yeti. You remember been able to pick it up yet, Jason?
No, sir.
That is fantastic. I've seen Dad on this ESPN 150-year documentary and the SEC documentary a couple times, footage of games he played in. That's real cool. All right, speaking of trivia question, we have talked about the Yeti cooler. I'm going to show it to everybody. Well, can you reach it, Jason? Wake up the kids, call your children. Folks, this is no $10 styrofoam cooler that you get at Zippy Mart. This is the real thing that keeps stuff colder than you've ever had a cooler keep stuff. Out of the generosity of Jason Gregory and Premier Dodge, we are giving it away to the trivia winner. You find a trivia contest that has a better prize than this. So in about 20 minutes, I'm going to ask a pretty simple trivia question, and the first caller that gets it right is going to get this cooler. Compliments the Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
And because that's something great. And ladies and gentlemen, another great thing about Jason and Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Chrysler and Ram truck is that every new and used car you sell, you'll give them a brand new Yeti cooler. Is that right, Jake?
That's right. We're not only giving them a brand new Yeti cooler, but we're also pledging.
Y'all gone through a lot of Yeti coolers lately, haven't you?
We've been giving a lot of them out. We've been giving out a lot.
Tell us more about this pledge y'all do.
For the last 2 months, this is our last and final month of our campaign. But not only have we been giving away a Yeti cooler, but we've been pledging $200 in the name of the customer to the Pike Regional Medical Foundation.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So that's a lot of big things that.
And then last year, y'all supported local schools with the same gift.
That's right.
We applaud you for that, Jason. Thank you.
Y'all gonna have any cars in the Charles Henderson parade today?
I think we got about 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. In fact,
So you had to make them sign a waiver, a big insurance policy?
No, I just got to have some insurance.
I'm just kidding.
in fact, and then later on in the year, you've got the Troy Appreciation Day Parade, which I'm sure they'll be using a lot of your cars, too.
Oh, yeah. We try to participate in all those things.
That's one of the ants that got on my hand from...
Well, yours truly does that parade every year, and I'll be mentioning all those cars that you got in the parade.
So where are you at this morning, Dad? You looking over at the Gulf of Mexico?
Yeah, and it is beautiful this morning. And I tell you, you know, with this big view that I have, you know, the daylight just sort of catches up on you. It's dark and then it's daylight. You know what I'm saying? With the sun coming up. So it's really been beautiful. Really
have you seen any dolphins out this morning?
No, I haven't, but it's still early.
You know, Mike, right when I was getting pneumonia, we planned a family vacation, our first one in about 5 years, and I hadn't been to Panama City Beach in decades. You know, I used to go all the time, and then my parents got a lake house at Lake Martin, and we became lake people, and so we'd always go to Lake Martin. Then I became a yuppie, and I would want to go where little Mike is in Grayton Beach and Seaside, and the beaches of 38. And then I said, we're going to do this, use my tax-free fund and take this vacation. We got small kids. I said, dang it, we're going to Panama City Beach and ride the go-karts and do all the stuff. And even though I had pneumonia and couldn't go out as much as I wanted to, we had a fantastic time. Loved it. It was great.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, speaking of that, last night I was grilling some deer sausage last night, and my wife and I got in an argument because we ran out of Grey Poupon mustard. That's what I like to dip in my sausage down here.
I do that too. I get my sausage, and especially when I'm on my low carb diet, I eat a lot of sausage, and the Grey Poupon is best on it. You're right.
Hey, I love that commercial, Grey Poupon. That brought back memories.
I'm a mustard snob, and I've become kind of a beer snob. I like the fancy beers now more than I do the buds.
You know, I've always been a big Kelly sausage. Jason, you ever had Kelly sausage out of Elba, Alabama?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Well, you know, you're grilling a big steak, and what you do, you throw some links, Kelly's link sausage on the grill, and you start playing, picking at it, and then what you do, you get a piece of light bread and a piece of Kelly sausage, and you stick that Kelly sausage on that bread, and then you pour some honey on it. And believe you me, it doesn't get any better than that. You ever tried that?
No, I'm going to try the honey, though.
Try and put honey on that sausage and light bread, and you won't want your steak.
You know, Mike, my brother Rush has become a big chef through the years. He likes to cook out, and he does that too. You know, while he's cooking, he does sausage on the grill as kind of an appetizer, and it is really good.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I got to move us along. I'm the moderator.
All right, move us along. Move on, buddy.
The Pike Liberal Arts School Patriots at Abbeville. What's Abbeville's nickname?
Abbeville Christian, aren't they?
Yeah, but do anybody know their mascot?
I don't know.
No, I don't. Of course, that school's owned by a pretty well-known guy, the Yellow Man.
It ought to be the Abbeville Yellow Man.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, that's in Abbeville.
There's a lot of money to that school, I know that.
A great town, made famous by the Yellow Man. Pike Liberal Arts surely has more talent and players and athletes than Abbeville. Boy, if it was baseball, we know who we'd pick, right? But I'm going with the Patriots.
Abbeville Christian is 1-6.
Well, there you go. All right, Mike. I take it you're going with Pike Liberal Arts.
I'm going with Pike Liberal Arts.
All right. Yeah. Jason, I want to guess that you're going with Pike Liberal Arts.
You know, I picked them a few times and got stung a few times. Mm-hmm. You know, this morning I picked Abbeville this morning.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's what winners are made of.
The car to Jimmy Rain, Jason?
No, sir.
I bet your daddy has over the years, I'm sure. All right, go ahead.
I've heard that Jimmy Rain is the wealthiest man in Alabama. Have you heard that?
I have.
Yeah, I read an article about that. He's right under $1 billion. I think that's what they were saying the other day. 900 and something million.
I've told y'all before that he became famous for that ad campaign where he's the Yellow Man. And a fraternity brother of mine, close friend to my older brother, he's Slat Slayton, originally from Montgomery. He came up with that whole campaign to change that. He's an advertising guy.
Man thing, yeah.
That you talk about one campaign that resulted in tens of millions of dollars of sales. All right.
One I can remember so much. It says, if it don't say osmos on the yellow tag, believe you me, you don't want it.
Well, Slats probably came up with that. Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing about it is every single coach in the SEC, they would advertise with. So, I mean, that was great exposure right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No question about it. You're right. It was a good campaign.
What do we got next? We got Pike County?
No, we got Elba, the Elba Flood at the Brantley Titletowners.
Of course, Elba has lost their coach. Peyton Harrison, a friend of the show, is resigned. And, of course, we talked about that before. And definitely wish the best for Peyton. We definitely wish the best for Elba and these kids. Glenn Johnson's the interim coach. He's been there for probably 25 years, so they're in good hands. But I'll take Brantley.
Okay. I'm writing this down. Little Mike takes Brantley. What about Big Mike?
Boy, this is going to be a tough one right here. Jason, this is one of those just shoot in here because one of us has got to have some relief. And I'm going to take, this game's going to be televised on Troy Cable. It's a game to be played in Brantley.
Live?
You'll be able to watch it live tonight on Troy Cable, Channel 2. And I'm going to tell you the Brantley Bulldogs, because they're playing at home, this should be a good one.
Well, I'll try to watch some of it. So, both of the Amoses take Brantley. I take Elba. Jason?
I'm going with Brantley.
Okay, so I'm the only one that takes Elba. Elba is tough, and I know they've lost their coach. I think it should be a toss-up game. All right.
It's going to be a great game.
Huge game here. Pike County Bulldogs, undefeated, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
At Providence Christian in Dothan, coached by Troy native Kenny Keith, who I was a teammate of on the state championship football team, has become a fantastic coach, and I'm not surprised at all. But I'm going with Pike County until Pike County gets beat. Mike said early in the year that they weren't going to lose, and he should have stuck with that. But Providence is good.
I know.
I'm going with Pike County. Let's go to the Amoses in the beautiful beaches. Mike?
I'll take Pike County. I feel like, they're just strong and physical, and they're going to be playing a bunch of kids tonight that just never gone up against kids this athletic and this strong.
All right. That's what winners are made of. Big Mike?
Oh, I tell you what, Providence is undefeated. They had a great year last year. If anybody's going to beat them, Providence is going to beat them, and that's what I'm going to take. I'm going to take Providence.
Yeah, Pike County beat Providence last year.
Okay.
Jason?
Yeah, I'm going with Pike County. Got to support the home team.
They only have about 14 players that play, but it's always been that way at Pike County.
But every one of them can play.
You're darn right.
It's amazing they never get hurt either. They're always in just unbelievable physical condition.
Yeah, people don't talk about how good defensively they are. They're just a good, solid program.
Coached by Coach Holland, who was a great player himself.
Yeah, you got Fred Holland's your head coach, Doug Holland's one of your assistant coaches, and then you got Joey Dennison, Charles Henderson great, and Troy University great.
Joey Dennison was a classmate and teammate of Kenny Keith. Kenny Keith was the starting cornerback on that state championship team of 1980. They switched him after the first game from wide receiver. He split and rotated with Ken Anderson, and for some reason the coaches moved him to cornerback after the first game, and he became a great cornerback in a hurry. And then Joey Dennison was arguably the best offensive lineman that's ever come through Charles Henderson. And I understand he's become a great offensive line football coach, too.
Here we go, guys.
All right, I'm moving on. Abbeville at Arrington. I'll go with Arrington. Big Mike.
This is the Abbeville Yellow Jackets.
That's right, the public school.
Yes, sir. They're good.
Who you going to take?
I'm gonna go with Arrington. They're on the roll. I'm gonna take the Arrington Purple Cats.
Okay.
I'm going to take Abbeville.
Jason, you know?
I'm going with Arrington.
All right, Jason, it's politically correct this morning.
All right, let's move. That takes us through the high school games, and now we're going into the college games, everybody. Before we go to the college games, let's
Wait a minute. Do we pick Luber and Goshen already?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did pick that one, didn't we? Okay.
Yeah, that was the very first one.
Okay.
That's the game of the century. All right, before we go to the college games, let's do our trivia question. Wake up the kids, call your friends. Listen, folks, you're going to win a couple $100 Yeti cooler if you can answer this first person that calls in. What's the telephone number? Mike, tell us the telephone number.
It's 334-670-0052.
670-0052.
You're going to lose both Mike and Michael Amos when we do this.
We'll try. We got a line 3, but yeah, that's a risk we're going to take.
Put us on hold. Just put us on hold.
Okay. 670-0052. First person that answers this trivia question. 3 former University of Alabama quarterbacks have gone to the NFL and ended up in the NFL Hall of Fame. 3 former University of Alabama quarterbacks are now in the NFL Hall of Fame. They're all legends. We need somebody that can name all 3 of those NFL Hall of Fame quarterbacks that played at the Crimson Tide.
I know the answer.
You know the answer, Jason?
You can't play.
I know the answer. Mike came up with this trivia question. All right, so we'll wait, and the first person that gives us those 3 quarterbacks wins the Yeti cooler. While we're waiting for that, let's go to our first college game, Georgia at Tennessee. I think we all know who we're going to pick, but I pick, of course, Georgia.
I take Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an easy game to pick, Georgia.
In Georgia.
Okay. Tennessee even had more controversy this week dealing with an arrest story involving one of their players that didn't help Coach Pruitt's situation, I'm sure. All right. Northwestern at Nebraska. We all saw Nebraska get steamrolled last week.
Yeah, but I think Nebraska licks it and swoons and comes right out of it and just thumps Northwestern.
Okay. Mike, Big Mike.
I'm going to take Nebraska.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of either one of these teams. I've watched them both this year, but I think Northwestern has a horrible offense. I'll take Nebraska.
Okay, so we're all going with Nebraska. I watched Northwestern last week, and for most of the game, their offense looked completely inept, and then they changed quarterbacks, and they did better.
Yeah. Let me tell you, you'd feel good about this, Rice. Johnny Musso's, both of Johnny Musso's sons went to Northwestern.
I remember one of them wore number 22 and was a fantastic punt returner.
Yeah.
Okay. This trivia question.
All right, here comes our call. Let me come put y'all on hold. How do I do it? Hold there. And then let's see. I'm putting.
That's number 3.
All right. You're on Today in L.A. Are you calling with the trivia question answer?
Yes, sir. It's name a star and the third one, Stabler.
You got it. You're the winner. Congratulations. Who is this?
Ray.
Huh?
Ray.
Ray? What's your last name, Ray?
Click, C-L-I-C-K.
Well, you know where the studio is in Troy Cable?
Yes, sir.
Is that where he comes?
Actually, you know where Premier is on 231?
I do.
Just come by and see someone up front and just tell them that you're the trivia winner for today's Pick'em show.
Great, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. Now let's see. I take them. I put. Let's see. Put him on. Click him off.
Thank you.
Hold. And then I go back to. I'm gonna let you do it. Conference. And then put. All right. Then we do.
Are you ready? Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Know-how, Napa Know-How. Upside down with your vehicle? Bring it. Been told no for a loan? Bring it. Take home $350 a week? Bring it. Bring it to Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy. New 2019 Ram 1500 at $269 a month. New Wranglers $299 a month. Think you got the best deal? We'll beat it. What'd you say? We'll beat it. Shop local. Shop PremierTroy.com, where Premier can make a difference during the summer clearance sale. Bring it on. There's a reason we sell more vehicles than anyone else. Price. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Hold the conference.
We're back, everybody. Congratulations to Ray Click, who answered the trivia question. That is amazing that Alabama has 3 former quarterbacks who are in the NFL Hall of Fame. Now, they're all played 50 years ago, so it's not like they're recent quarterbacks.
Yeah, it would have been somebody that remembers all that back then.
One of them is Joe Namath, and one of the people responsible for recruiting Joe Namath to Alabama was Coach Charlie Bradshaw, who coached here in Troy. He played a real important role. He was the one who found out that Namath could not get in Maryland. That's where he was going to go to school, and he didn't have the grades. And somebody from the Maryland staff called Coach Bradshaw and said, "We got this great player. We don't want to play anybody in our conference that have to play against him. You think he might be interested?" And the rest is history.
Yeah, the real sad story about all that is, Keith Stabler doesn't even go into the Hall of Fame until after he died. The Veterans Committee put him in the Hall of Fame, so he actually didn't live to actually, go and, to Cooperstown.
I know.
So, not Cooperstown,
I'm just
but
tell you right
the
now,
Hall of Fame.
Kenny Stabler was my favorite all-around player. He's my favorite.
He just had a persona unlike any other quarterback. He was just so cool. He's like a pirate. I loved him, too. And he was in so many big, memorable games, too. He seemed like he had ice water in his veins.
Yeah, Madden said, Coach Madden said something about it that was a great compliment. He said if he had any quarterback in the country with a situation with 2 minutes left to go in the game and the ball at the 20-yard line, he'd want Stabler to be his quarterback.
Yep.
Well, that's a lot to be said for.
Guys, let's see.
All right, let's move on. We got North Carolina, which almost pulled the shocker of the college football season last week at Georgia Tech. Let's start with Big Mike. What do you think, Mike?
This is a tough one. I would like to take Tech, but I think North Carolina's going to win the game.
Yeah. All right, Little Mike?
Yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech's awful. They got beat at home by Citadel, and North Carolina, I know, is heartbroken, but I'm sure they still got enough to beat Georgia Tech.
I think North Carolina is about a 10-point favorite.
That's right.
Georgia Tech, they, of course, went from the wishbone, or not the wishbone, the option offense that they ran for 10 years, and now they're going completely opposite direction to the spread passing game, and they just don't have the players to do that yet. So it's kind of understandable why they're struggling. I'm going with North Carolina. Jason?
Yeah, I'm going with Mac Brown. I think he knew he found a way to beat Clemson, but he elected to go for 2 to win. And so,
what do you think about that call going with?
Hey, he's a winner. He always has been. So I think they come back, and I think they beat up Georgia Tech pretty good.
You can't criticize him heavily for going for the win. You had a chance to win it in one-on-one play. But I thought about it, probabilities. Blackjack and gin rummy are games of probability. So is football. His chances of making a 2-point conversion are about 40%. That's what the success rate is. I would say that his chances of winning a game in overtime at his home stadium would have been about 50%. So I actually think he had a better chance of winning the game if he would have let the game go to overtime, but that's just my opinion. Let's move on to California at the Oregon Ducks, which we're all familiar with because of that great game against Auburn to start the season. Let's start with Jason. What do you think about this game, Jason?
You know, I think Oregon's going to find a way to beat Cal. You know, they're fast. They're strategic. I think Oregon wins.
Oregon has looked really good since they lost Auburn. I'll tell you this. The better Oregon looks and the more they win, that helps Auburn if they get into the playoff debates. That's going to be a huge win. So all Auburn fans are pulling hard for Oregon, I would imagine. Wouldn't y'all, Mike? Wouldn't you think that, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'll tell you one big thing that everybody needs to know here is the California quarterback is out. He is not going to play, and the guy that backs him up is not very good. Take Oregon in a big way.
I think they're favored by about 16. All right, little Mike?
Yeah, the line's at 18 now. I'll take Oregon. This game will be at 7 o'clock on Fox if anybody wants to watch it.
Okay. Cal,
Good.
we watched Cal. Cal went into Oxford, Mississippi and all that heat and humidity and beat Ole Miss, which we saw that Ole Miss moved the ball pretty easily against Alabama. So I think that's impressive.
Ole Miss had the ball against California on the 1-foot line and couldn't score.
Mm-hmm. So that
the last play of the game, I think, wasn't it?
How about this, Dad? The temperature in Columbia, Missouri right now is 49 degrees.
Oh, gosh. I better take off my shorts then.
Get some of that cold weather to Troy, Alabama in a hurry, please.
Yeah, bottle it and bring it back.
The high today is only 67.
Hey, I think I might have to go to Walmart to buy me a pair of long pants.
I was reading the story about this heat wave we've had, and a lot of record highs were set yesterday in Alabama with cities reaching 100 degrees. Yeah. It's not surprising that that was a record high for October 3rd or 2nd, whatever it was. But what's surprising is if you look at how much it beat the old records by, like it was 101 in Montgomery. The previous record for that date was like 92, so it beat it by like 9 degrees.
And that is amazing. That is amazing.
Normally when you beat these records, you beat them by 1 degree or something.
Yeah.
You need to bring your rain jacket tomorrow, though. It's 50% chance of rain during the Troy, Missouri game.
Oh, boy. Man, you're telling me that now I got to buy a raincoat, too, then. Is that right?
I'm sure you got about 1,000 of them in your closet.
Well, that might affect our wagering strategy if this game's going to be played in the rain. Troy's a 26-point underdog. Do we think the rain would help Troy or hurt Troy, Mike?
I think it would help Troy. I think the rain would help Troy. Slow the game down, and whatever.
Hey, it might help the score. They might just run the ball out and run the clock out.
Yeah.
Jason, one of the very best clothing stores in America is located 25 miles south of here in Ozark. It's called Fairfield. And he's been in business a long time. And, hey, he loves to see yuppies like you come in there and buy clothes.
Mike, you think everybody is a yuppie.
No, I think it's a great store for people that love to buy nice clothes.
Do you think I'm a yuppie?
Yeah, you got a little yuppie. You're raised a yuppie.
I think a yuppie, you wear 100% cotton shirts and khaki pants.
That's right, exactly. And penny loafers.
That's right. That's a yuppie.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. I'm one. Or they used to call them preppies. Remember that? I still wear the preppy look.
Well, let me tell you this. You look at Jason, he's sharp. I tell you, he's sharp. And he's been to stores like, but I just want to know that Fairfield is one of our sponsors, and they're located downtown Ozark and have tremendous range of great clothes for men and women.
Bearfields. I can't wait to go to Bearfields. I've heard so much about it. I'm supposed to move us along, so let's move on.
We look good.
All right, we're looking good. Interesting game here. Utah State at LSU played at noon in Baton Rouge, so that's a bummer. But you would think big blowout for LSU, but then
it'll be hot there.
Oh yeah.
Don't you know that it'll be hot there?
But y'all have told me, or I've done some research, and Utah State actually has one of the top quarterbacks in America, and has got a pretty good football team, right?
And you know what? 3-1. If somebody asked me what they do if they were going to fool with this thing, I would say take the point. I think Utah State's going to play them pretty tough. I really do.
Okay, put a star by that. All right, but
that is
line's at 27.5.
So you get
it's going down, then, Mike. It means it's going down.
I'll take LSU.
LSU.
You want to go for the upset of the year?
No, I'm going with LSU.
Let's get a preview. What do you think? How do you think Auburn's going to do when they get to LSU?
Hey, we got to get past Florida first.
One game at a time, right?
Ooh, buddy.
That's right. That's right.
Can't look ahead. Okay. TCU at Iowa State. This is one of the better games of the day. TCU is good, and Iowa State is good, and they always play close, competitive games. I'm going to flip a coin, and because it's at Iowa State, say Iowa State. Now we go to the beach Amos's.
All right, I'll take Iowa State. It is pheasant season, Jason. I know you know all about that. Iowa State's got a good team. TCU does. I like Iowa State at home.
Little Mike, give us some intelligence on this game.
I mean, Iowa State's lost 2 heartbreaking games. They lost by 1 to Iowa, and then they lost, I think, by 1 or 2 to Baylor.
Yep.
So I'm going to take Iowa State at home.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going with the home field advantage.
So
they got a real good quarterback named Purdy.
Is he Purdy?
Yeah, pretty good player.
Who coached at Iowa State before he coached at Auburn?
Gene Chisholm.
No, it wasn't Gene Chisholm.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Chisholm.
There's been a lot of.
I think Chisholm came to Auburn after he'd won like 2 games in his.
Yeah, Chisholm was 5-19 and got the Auburn job. Pretty amazing.
You know,
Johnny Majors used to coach at Iowa State. Do you remember Johnny Majors?
Of course I do.
Go back that far, do you?
Yeah, wasn't he the runner-up to the Heisman Trophy when he was a player at Tennessee?
That's right. That's right. You're exactly right. Maybe we'll give you a little one of these little six-pack coolers for answering that.
I'll take it. I work for perks, for giveaways.
Hey, listen, you can tell that Jason that's put around. The Ghost coolers are the best coolers known to man, and he's giving them away.
I mean, he could have given away any cooler, and he gave away a Yeti cooler. That tells you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on to an intriguing game. Big Ten showdown. Michigan State, known for its defense against Ohio State, who a lot of people are saying might be the best team in college football so far. Big Mike, what do you think about this one?
I'll take Ohio State in a big way.
Okay, Little Mike, give us some intelligence. You got some facts at your disposal all the time.
I mean, Michigan State's only loss is to Arizona State at home. So they got a decent team. But Ohio State, I've watched them a couple times this year. I mean, Justin Fields is a pretty amazing quarterback, and they've got a really good defense. I'm going to take Ohio State.
Don't they have a really good running back, too?
Yeah, I mean, they're loaded.
They're full, no weaknesses, it looks like.
Yeah, Dave's done a really good job as a first-year coach.
And he's got a big front line, too. Mm-hmm. It's lights out.
The more we talk about it, I think Ohio State's about a 20-point favorite. But the way they're playing and trying to make a statement, you might want to lay those 20 points. They're playing in the Horseshoe in Ohio.
Let's just say this. They take no prisoners.
Speaking about Ohio State, I watched an interesting feature in my ESPN history documentary about college football traditions. One of the great traditions in college football is the dotting of the I of the Ohio State marching band.
I've been there and seen that firsthand. You're right. It's quite a thing.
And it's quite an honor if they ask you to dot the I, right?
That's right.
The one they showed in this documentary was
Mike and I went up and
Jack
saw
Nicklaus.
Troy. Troy played them off their feet too. I remember that.
Yeah, Troy was tied, and going into the fourth quarter, it was 14-14, but they brought in Terrell Pryor, and he won the game for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
Moving forward, we're all got an interest in this from Troy, Texas at West Virginia, and I think Coach Brown is exceeding expectations so far at West Virginia. If he could beat Texas, he would be the toast of West Virginia already. So, but Texas is, I think, is about 11-point favorite, but they're playing in Morganton. Big Mike.
Hey, Texas is going to beat them like a yard dog.
Yeah, both schools have had off weeks to get ready for this game. Of course, if they win big games in Morgantown, they burn couches. That's their big thing. I'm going to take Texas big too. I think West Virginia's just not there yet.
That's darn fun, yeah. The same words that I've been working on a railroad.
I'm going with Texas. I'm already looking forward to the Texas-Oklahoma game. I guess Texas is the only team that can probably beat Oklahoma. But I think West Virginia's playing better, but they don't have the athletes to keep up with Texas.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for my old coach and everything, but I just don't think he can beat Texas.
All right, what are your thoughts, Jason?
Yeah, you know, I've always picked West Virginia for the likes of Neil Brown, but I think this week, I think he's got his hands full with Texas.
Okay,
And so I take Texas.
we're all going with Texas. Intriguing game here, Central Florida at Cincinnati. I'll go with Central Florida wants to get some redemption for that loss, that shocking loss to Pittsburgh. I think they put it back together and beat Cincinnati, although Cincinnati's a decent team. Big Mike.
I agree with you. This is going to be a heck of a game. I wouldn't know if Cincinnati win the game, but I'm going to
Hey, we're losing you, Mike. Speaking to your mouthpiece.
Okay. I'll take UCF.
Okay.
I'll take Central Florida.
Jason.
Yeah, I'm going with Central Florida.
So everybody is taking the road team. I think Central Florida might be a slight favorite.
Jason, I don't know if you know this, but next to Ohio State, University of Central Florida has more students than any place in America.
Well, that's
They have over 55,000 students at the University of Central Florida. Ohio State has 60,000.
But you know what the biggest college enrollment is? I found this in the Phil Steele magazine. I was surprised. I guess no.
Texas.
Little Mike, you know?
Texas.
No, the University of Arizona.
Really?
Well, now they do a lot of theirs on computer though, don't they?
I don't know, but there's 70,000 or more students.
Whoa.
Arizona State also has a lot of students, but it was very surprising to me to learn that University of Arizona has the largest on-campus enrollment. But yeah, you're right. Ohio State and UCF are right up there.
Yeah, I was surprised the other day. I read Auburn's on campus now is around 27,000.
Yeah. Alabama's at 36,000, I think now.
Auburn said they want to cap it. They don't want to get too, and I like that. You know, just
yeah, I do too. Who did you take on that game, Jason?
UCF.
Okay, all right. That's what winners are made of, isn't it?
Yep.
That's right.
Well, y'all are watching the Premier Dodge Jeep Chrysler Pick'em Show, sponsored by Premier Dodge. And we've got the proprietor here, Jason Gregory. We appreciate him sponsoring this show and doing all you do for our community, Jason.
Absolutely.
And he also knows a lot about football, and he gives away the best coolers in America. Moving on.
He's also a good friend. I owe you breakfast at Birds, Jason. Breakfast at Birds. Go by and pick it up.
He can just go in there and say he's your son, and you can charge it to Mike Amos.
That's right. He already knows how good that food is. too.
Golly, it is so good. I'm taking my wife there after the show.
Well, great. And you tell them that I'm taking care of it.
No.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate
that's the only place in America I get a side of bacon and a milkshake in the morning for breakfast.
Is that good or what?
Oh,
unbelievable.
You know what I did the other night? Something I hadn't done in a long. I made a homemade milkshake. My wife got a blender to make some of these crazy fruit drinks she likes to make. And I said, no, a blender is either for making margaritas or for milkshakes. And I got some Bluebell vanilla, some vanilla extract, and some milk, and put it in the blender. And it was great, but I made a lot more milkshake than I thought I was going to make. So I ended up making 3 milkshakes for myself. But I drank every one of them.
Hey, Jason, when you come on this show, we're up close and personal, my friend.
Of course, Dad, you're close to.
By the way, Jason, what did you have for supper last night?
Let's see. I had a little chicken noodle soup from the Chick-fil-A.
Awesome.
Okay. Dad's
gonna be heading to the airport soon. He'll probably stop by Thomas's Donuts, the world famous Thomas's Donuts, on the way to the airport.
Sure will. I've had them on my mind all morning.
Just bring some back with you.
Hey, bring us some souvenirs, Mike.
Okay.
Something from St. Louis.
Playing baseball there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, I think.
Bring me how about a Cardinals hat? I need a good Cardinals hat.
You might just get one, my friend.
No.
But you just might get one. How about?
I like the Cardinals, but not as more. I like the Braves. I'm pulling hard for the Braves. All right, everybody.
Didn't you say the Braves ended up getting beat last night? They led the whole time, and they got beat.
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy. They were up by 2 going in the 8th inning, and their relief pitcher goes in to warm up, and he'd been having a pretty good year since the Braves had picked him up in a trade, and he goes in to warm up, and he somehow hurts his oblique muscle, and they had to pull him out, and they bring a guy in out of the bullpen that really didn't get a chance to warm up, and first guy he faces hits a home run, and then he gives up 2 more hits, and and another run scores, but the Braves threw the guy out at home plate, and then Braves brought in their closer, and he just choked it up, and Cardinals got up 7-3 in the 9th inning, and the Braves came back, hit a 2-run home run, hit a solo home run, but couldn't come back, got beat 7-6.
God, sounds like a great game.
Jason, you've seen every major network in the country. Have you ever heard a better report on a ball game?
No, absolutely. Mike, did you see that? Can you believe that the Braves were worried about those 2 guys for the Cardinals, and ended up the guy after them caused all the damage?
Yeah, I know. I mean, as a Braves fan, I'm a lifelong Braves fan. I'm sure Jason is too, growing up in Columbus. I mean, it's just brutal what you have to experience in the playoffs. It's like this every year.
Well, not only the Braves, but then the Falcons too. You know, I mean, you want to be your home team supporter, but man, every time you just get tired of getting beat.
Yeah.
I mean, what were the Falcons with the Super Bowl on the Patriots? What were they up, 28-3?
Yeah. Yeah, and then they blow it.
Hey, Jason, throw me a phone and send me some tickets to the Falcons game. I've never been to a Falcons game.
Well, I mean, you just got to go out on the street corner and ask, instead of asking for food, just ask for a Falcons ticket.
How much can you get one for? Probably $10. I've been watching some Falcons games, and they're definitely not sellouts in that nice dome.
All right, here we go. Got Virginia Tech and Miami. What do you think?
I think that Virginia Tech is like Stanford. They are on a steep decline as a program. Miami's not that great, but they're playing in Miami, and surely Miami has enough to win. So, Miami. What do you think?
I'm going to take Miami.
Take Miami.
Yeah, I think we're all going south. We're all going to Miami.
That's South Beach. Why aren't y'all at South Beach?
That's a little too far down for me. That's a little bit different world. When I'm in Grayton Beach, I still feel like I'm in lower Alabama. There's so many people from Alabama down this way.
I say South Florida is like living in New York.
Yeah.
Or a little Cuba.
Let's go on a break here, and we'll be right back.
Well, let's see if Steve's listening. We take a commercial break right here, if possible. If not, we'll...
Are you ready?
Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa know-how. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa know-how team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Napa know-how. Upside down with your vehicle? Bring it. Been told no for a loan? Bring it. Take home $350 a week? Bring it. To Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Troy. New 2019 Ram 1500 at $269 a month. New Wranglers, $299 a month. Think you got the best deal? We'll beat it. What'd you say? We'll beat it. Shop local. Shop PremierTroy.com, where Premier can make a difference during the summer clearance sale. Bring it on. There's a reason we sell more vehicles than anyone else. Price. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
I worked for about a week.
All right, we're back to the Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Picking Show. I'm here with Jason Gregory joining us from the two different beaches. Are Mike Amos Sr., although he's not technically a senior, and Mike Amos Jr., one in Panama City Beach, one in Grayton, although Big Mike Amos is getting ready to go to St. Louis, Missouri, and then to Columbia, Missouri. But we want to tell everybody that nobody will beat the deal at Premier Dodge Jeep Chrysler. Is that right? Is that right? Is that just a slogan or is that the truth? Nobody will beat it.
That's right.
Well, there you go. Nobody will beat it.
Hey, Jason, I know you're familiar with the Red Bar. You know, it was destroyed by a fire. They're trying to build it back. And one of my favorite places to eat. Have you ever eaten at the Red Bar down here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And listen to a little bit of jazz music down there.
Hey, Mike, Mike Amos Sr., when I went to Panama City Beach, you recommended that I go to a restaurant called Dusty's.
Yeah, that's right. Did you go?
Yeah, and we loved it. It was really good. And it's one of those places where you got dollar bills everywhere on the wall where people sign.
Oh, God, yeah.
But we wondered, the family had a conversation, how much money you think is on the walls here and what could you buy with it? We just took wild guesses. But I read a story yesterday online about a similar restaurant somewhere in Florida, not Panama City Beach.
It's in Pensacola, I think.
And they actually took all the dollars off to make a donation to the hurricane relief in the Bahamas, and they found out how much money it was. Y'all take a guess.
Wasn't it like $40,000?
Well, this one they said was $15,000. I thought it would be more, but...
Yeah, I would have thought that too. But that famous restaurant in Pensacola had them all over their place too. McGuire's or somebody like that.
Yeah, McGuire's the Irish pub.
We got a good one coming up with Pittsburgh at Duke. Duke has played well today this year.
And so that's a college full of yuppies, Mike, full of northern yuppies. You know, everybody, these aren't North Carolina kids. These are people from New York and Connecticut. And,
that's right. You're exactly right.
Rich northerners that go to South. I'm taking the rich northerners who go south to Duke. Okay?
You going to take Pitt or Duke?
I'm taking Duke.
I'm going to take Duke.
You know, it's like we talked about Auburn wants Oregon to win every game. Alabama fans want Duke to win every game because that's Alabama's most impressive win so far. All right?
Pretty sad, but yeah, I guess you're right. I'll take Duke.
Yeah, I've got Duke circled, so I'm going with Duke.
Pitt's one of those teams that you don't know who's going to show up. They might be awful or they might surprise you. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pitt won, but I'm going with Duke.
I mean, Pitt beating Central Florida is still a shock to me.
Mm-hmm. They beat, didn't they beat or almost beat Clemson?
Penn State.
All right.
Almost beat Penn State, didn't they?
Nah, Penn State.
Yeah, they did.
Penn State beat them, and Penn State's an interesting team. They control their own destiny too. I mean, everybody forgets about Penn State, but they've got Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin. They beat all those teams. They're a top 4 team in the playoffs. Iowa at Michigan. Boy, everybody's been talking about Michigan and Coach Harbaugh. He finally got on the looked impressive last week. Can he follow it up this week and beat a very good Iowa team? What do you think, Big Mike?
All right. All right, I'll tell you right now, I will give you a milkshake, a milkshake, if they can tell me what the coach at Michigan's nickname is. It's been given to him over the last few years.
Khaki
He's got a
pants.
nickname.
Khaki pants.
What is it, Mike?
Khaki pants.
Khaki pants. Did you know that, Jason? That's
No.
what they call him now, is khaki pants?
Well, I knew it, but Mike was too quick on the trigger, and I wanted that milkshake.
He does Dockers commercials.
You're kidding me.
What he does, he gets out and he takes off his shirt and he plays football with them in khaki pants.
Well, I wear khaki pants 95% of the days of my life. What's the problem with it?
Well,
I mean, it's hard to believe that Harbaugh actually had camps in Alabama. That's still hard to believe that Michigan used to have football camps in Alabama.
It all started when he came to Prattville to do a camp, and he took away 2 or 3 good players from Prattville too. But they said he was out there with no shirt on and just khaki pants.
Hey, little Mike, he had an analyst or assistant, Bam Richards, that played at Charles Henderson. Is he still associated with Michigan and that staff?
No, he's coaching high school football in Alabama, but I think he was out there a couple of years.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the minor upset here. I'm gonna take Iowa to beat them.
Okay, let me put that down. All right.
I think Michigan has turned the corner a little bit. They're gonna play.
You're basing it off beating Rutgers.
Jason, 114,000 people will watch this game. I like Michigan's helmets. I'm going to take Michigan.
Yeah, I'm taking Michigan.
You like the white, but you like their helmets or what?
Home team, I don't care much for Michigan, period. But at the end of the day, they're at home, and that's tough to go into the big house and listen to all those fans going crazy. And hey, it's football.
Yeah, I would like to go to the big house before I die to see a football game. So that is really impressive.
That's one state I've never been to, Michigan. I understand there's some real pretty parts of it in northern Michigan, maybe. All right.
And I like their fight song too.
They are the program. They have the most wins in college football history. But I've researched that Alabama is second if you take away all these vacated and wins.
Yeah, but did Michigan start football way before Alabama did?
They started about 4 seasons earlier, and then they also played during World War I and World War II, where Alabama took off 2 seasons. So Michigan has about 6 more seasons of playing football. They've got about 25 more wins than Alabama. But, you know, if Alabama had those extra years, they would be the all-time winningest program in college football history.
I mean, Alabama had to vacate wins under what, Stallings and DuBose?
They had under Saban, too, with that textbook scandal. And then they forfeited wins under Stallings. And Alabama has lost about 31 victories on the field that games actually won, that the NCAA doesn't count, but Bill Rice Jr. counts.
Bobby Bowden at Florida State ended up losing, what, 60 to 70 wins?
Yeah. Penn State, a lot of teams have lost.
I'm glad Auburn doesn't do anything like that.
I'm going to go with Penn State. We are Penn State.
So what game is this? Penn State who?
We have moved on to Penn State at Purdue.
At Penn State.
I'll take Penn State.
All right. I'll take Penn State.
And I take Penn State.
Boy, last year Purdue was the feel-good story of the year with that young man that was battling cancer and was so brave, and they went out and won a game for him. That touched my heart.
Is he still living? Or
No.
He passed away before the season.
I think right after the bowl game against Auburn.
Courageous young man.
Oh, yeah. He was so you just have to admire that young man and how strong some people can be in terrible times.
Make the statue for him. I think outside the stadium, his name was Tyler Trent.
That's right.
Isn't that wonderful?
I love Tyler Trent. He'll always be remembered. But we're not going with Tyler's team. We're going with Joe Pa's team, Penn State. Now, who are we going to go with Baylor, a great Baptist school?
You just shoot in here with this one. This one is a close one right here.
Kansas State, where Mitchell, who's the grandson of all the Lowrys here in Troy, is the starting right guard for Kansas State.
Yeah.
Kansas State is good, and so is Baylor.
Take Kansas State.
Okay.
Kind of hard to believe. All the Lowrys are about 5'9" on average, and this guy's about 6'5". It's pretty hard to believe.
I know it. You're right.
I'm going to take Baylor. I think Baylor will outscore them.
You know, I went to a couple of Montgomery Academy games. My niece went to Montgomery Academy, and I covered a few for the Montgomery Independent. I was on the field after one game when he was playing at Montgomery Academy. You don't expect to see any big-time prospects at Montgomery Academy.
Really?
And I walked by this guy that looked like big as a Coke machine, and I said, oh, my goodness. I mean, he looked like a college football player right then. Yeah, and it was Carmi Lowry's nephew.
Yeah.
Fine.
The sad thing is Troy never offered him, and he wanted to play at Troy.
Yeah. All right, who do y'all like here? I like Kansas State.
I'm picking Kansas State for our buddy Neil. That's texted me, said he's sick as a dog today. So we hope Neil gets to feeling better.
Boy, I hope he doesn't have pneumonia like I had it. And if y'all hear me coughing,
Neil is under the weather today.
Yes, sir. He is.
Okay. All right. I'm sad to hear that too.
I'll take Baylor.
all right, let me write this down. I'm just writing down the ones where you differ from everybody else. Yeah, Baylor won a thriller last week, and they have come back from that terrible controversy a couple years ago, and are bouncing back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hired a good coach. And Matt Rule did a really wonderful job at Temple and turned that program around, and he's a really good coach.
And then his Kansas State coach was at North Dakota State, which is the powerhouse of all powerhouses in 1AA, and he looks like he can do it at the big-time level, too. I like him.
Yeah, that Kansas State job came down to Neil Brown and Chris Kleiman, and they hired Kleiman. The main reason the North Dakota State coach got the job is the former athletic director at North Dakota State was the athletic director at Kansas State, so it's all about who you know.
That's right, you're exactly right.
Y'all, we got a team we all know very well from last week's game, Arkansas State, which beat Troy in a thriller, is at Georgia State in Atlanta.
I like Arkansas State.
Okay, me too. Jason?
Yeah, I go with Arkansas State. They got a pretty powerhouse offense.
Their quarterback was at Alabama before he came. He transferred. He played spring ball at Alabama and was the fifth-string quarterback at Alabama.
Yeah, this guy was lights out against Troy, which is not a good sign. But Georgia State, of course, upset Tennessee to start the season, but now they're struggling, so I'll take Arkansas State.
Okay. We got 17 minutes left in about 7 games, so we got plenty of time. Washington.
I got to catch an airplane.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll move. Washington at Stanford. Mike, before you get on that airplane, tell us your pick.
Hey, Washington is the team out there. This is another team. They're a top 8 team right now. They'll romp over Stanford.
I agree. Little Mike?
Yeah, I'll take Washington.
Yeah, I'm going with Washington.
What's happened to Stanford? A couple years ago, they were competing for national championships, and now they're a 500 team.
The capital of America right there now. Palo Alto.
Some people think it's the best academic institution in America.
That's where Jason's going to send all 3 of his daughters to Alto, so so he could go and play golf and go out there and see all his friends.
I want to brag. My cousin Caroline Rice from Tuscaloosa, she now lives in California, and she is married to a Stanford graduate. Not only did he graduate from Stanford, he has 7 brothers and sisters, and every one of them graduated from Stanford.
And Jason, here it is. He went to Wake Forest to school.
Yep. But now she's a California liberal now. She went to Wake Forest, and then I don't know how she met Nick. He's a banker out in California, done real well. But anybody that can go to Stanford must be pretty smart.
But it is a private school.
Yeah, Pebble Beach is probably about 30 miles from their campus, which is the most beautiful golf course I've ever seen.
Have you played it?
No, we didn't play it. We just went there and
we saw it in a driving rainstorm.
Yeah, it was even pretty in a driving rainstorm.
My brother Rush has played it. That's on my bucket list.
It costs $500. I mean, everybody can play it.
That's right.
At one time,
Jason, let me and you fly out there on you, and we'll play that golf course.
At one time,
sounds good.
Clint Eastwood was a part owner of it. I remember.
He was the mayor of Carmel.
Yeah. I think.
You know, my wife, Jason, my wife said he'll never want to come back on your show. She's usually asleep when the show's going on.
Yeah, I was about to say that's rare that your wife has actually listened to the show, even though her husband and son are on it.
But I tell you what, I don't believe anybody anywhere has a more beautiful view of what the Lord has made us right here in this Gulf of Mexico.
Awesome.
All right, I'm ready here.
All right.
Ole Miss.
All right, hotty toddy, what do you think?
Hotty toddy. That's the word. Hotty toddy, Jason.
Yeah, I got to go with Ole Miss on this one.
I go with Ole Miss is getting better, I think. Vandy's scrappy, but they're playing in Oxford, so I'm going with Ole Miss.
You know, y'all, I said something yesterday, and I believe it to be true. You know, Ole Miss is the capital of the South. And I really believe that they care more about tailgating than they do about who wins the football game. I really believe that.
Yeah, Vandy usually plays Ole Miss pretty tough. I'll take Ole Miss.
What did Max say about Ole Miss? He said their walk-ons or third stringers or former Miss America contestants. They've got the prettiest girls of any college, hands down, I think.
Well, you know, there's a traffic jam from Birmingham going on. A lot of Birmingham kids go to Ole Miss.
There's a lot of people from Montgomery that get. My sister-in-law, Marty, is an Ole Miss grad. She was one of the recruiting hostesses when she was in college.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
All right, so we're all going with
Southern. You get a free one here. My Georgia Southern's got to be the luckiest team in the country.
Yeah, did you watch the game? It was on ESPNU last night.
Well, I look forward to it.
Did you know for the longest time though, South Alabama was up in that game, and they only had 3 first downs. All their plays were on big passes. I think a 75-yarder and a 60-yarder. So I mean, Georgia Southern, you know, stat-wise dominated the game, but you know, South Alabama was up and had a chance to probably have their biggest win since Campbell had been there. And you know, you get a team that misses a field goal in Georgia Southern, and you think this is our chance. All we got to do is go out and you get the ball at the 25-yard line. All you got to do is run it up the gut a couple times, kick field goal, you win the game. And instead, they get their kick blocked, and then they fumble, like we mentioned before, in the second overtime. And Georgia Southern, all they got to do is go out there and kick a field goal, which they did, and won the game.
I watched some. I had a little interest in that game last night, and flipped over, and South Alabama was up 17-10, had just scored, was kicking off with about 4 minutes left, chance to win the game. The kicker promptly kicks the ball out of bounds. So Georgia Southern gets the ball at the 35, and right then I said they're going to lose. I mean, these teams that are that bad, they always do stuff like that. I mean, he gave them a free 10 yards to start their drive, and they used that option offense and went right down the field and scored with about 20 seconds left to force the overtime.
All right, guys, I'm fixing to have to leave out of here in a minute. UAB at right, so of course the Georgia Southern one's a free pick.
All right, go ahead.
I'll take UAB.
UAB.
I'll take
for
UAB.
Jason.
Okay, I'm going against my last name. I'll take UAB too. Auburn at Florida. Now, before you leave, Mike, you got to give us a detailed analysis of this game.
Well, I tell you what, Auburn is playing well. A lot of people say this about Auburn. When you expect them to play well, sometimes they don't. But if you don't expect them to play well, they play lights out. I think Auburn's a better football team than Florida. I think they'll win that game and maybe by a couple of touchdowns.
All right, I like that. That's what winners are made of, Mike. What do you think about little Mike?
All right, my score now. Give me my score. Auburn 34, Florida 31.
I thought you said they were going to win by a couple of touchdowns.
Well,
He's telling the story.
I would take 34-31.
I'm picking Auburn for the first time this year against a decent team. I picked Oregon to beat them, and I picked A&M to beat them, but I've learned my lesson. I'm going to pick Auburn to beat Florida, and I think the score will be low scoring. I think Auburn will win around 20-13. I've
been on the Auburn bandwagon since preseason. I knew with that defensive line coming back, several players that could have gone pro, they didn't. That Bo Nix would be special, that Gus Malzahn was calling the plays, that Auburn was due for one of those magical seasons. So far, I've been right on. I think the more Auburn has to play for, the better they do. They live up to the moment. So this is a huge game. You're going to get Auburn's best shot. Unless there's some fluky stuff happens and 4 turnovers, I just think Auburn's going to win this game probably fairly easily. So I'll go with Auburn in a defensive battle, 24-13. Now, Jason, you've been following this team closer than anybody. What's going to happen?
Listen, Auburn's going to go down there. They got their strong defense. Their offense is on fire right now. I think Auburn goes down and beats them 48-17.
Woo-hoo-hoo. That's what winners are made of.
Let me go call my man. Let me go call my man real quick.
Might be right.
That's as good as a brand new Jeep from Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. That's a heck of a deal.
Well, let me say this about
there may be just a little bit of bias in there, but I'm telling you, I bleed orange and blue, and it's Auburn orange and blue.
If Jason's right, Auburn blows them out, which I can see it happening. You watch. When these first official rankings come out for the playoff, do not be surprised if Auburn is number 1. I mean, you would have a big impressive win over Florida, a big impressive win over Oregon, a big impressive win on the road at Texas A&M, a blowout of a pretty good Mississippi State team. What team's playing better? Maybe Ohio State would be the only team.
All right, I'm going to take Troy to win the football game. Troy to win the football game. You heard it right. Troy, it's going to be a shootout. The final score, we don't have to do this, but the final score, Troy 45, Missouri 43 in a shootout. What do you think about that?
I love it.
Is DeMarcus Ware going to suit up for Troy?
Yeah, Marcus Ware and O.T. Jimmy are going to play for Troy.
I tell you what, Chip Lindsey, you can't complain about offense so far as his first year head coach. I've been impressed with that, but defensively, Troy is about as bad as I've seen maybe ever. I think Missouri will win big.
Oh boy, what do you think, Jason?
There's no doubt Chip has brought in a great offensive scheme. I think he's got to do a little bit more work on the with the defensive backs, and our defense gave up a lot of plays on big plays, especially with the defensive backs. Hey, I hope they learn from last week. I hope it's close, but I think Missouri pulls this one out.
Well, Mike said that we got a chance for rain.
Thank you so much for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, have a safe trip, buddy.
All right. Well, I'm going with.
You did a super job.
I'm going with Missouri. But wouldn't it be something if Troy could win? Maybe the weather will help Troy, like Mike said.
It's a 3 o'clock kick on the SEC network. If anybody wants to watch it, of course, it'll be right in the middle of the Auburn, Florida game. so I'm going to be flipping back and forth.
Well, y'all have a great weekend, and thank you so much for being there. And again, thank you so much to Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass and right. You did a super job, man.
Well, I did the very best I could. We got 5 more minutes, and so Little Mike, you stay with us, and let's.
Yeah, stay with it. Yeah, okay, good.
I'll tell you a little bit more about Troy and Missouri. Missouri, since losing to Wyoming, has turned it around. It looks like to me, Jason. They were picked to be undefeated at this time, and since they had that wake-up call, they've looked like the team everybody thought they would be. The transfer quarterback from Clemson has done very, very well.
He sure has.
The defense has picked it up. They're one of the contenders in the East for the championship in the East. Of course, everybody figures Georgia will win it, but the favorite to be the second team in the East is Missouri. So that's who Troy's going up against. It looks like Troy can score and move the ball against anybody. It's just a matter if they can get some stops. And I do understand, Mike, didn't you tell me that Troy has some defensive backs who were out last week that'll be back against Missouri, right?
Yeah, they got Melvin Tyus is supposed to be back, and then I think one of the Nixon brothers, there's 2 of them. I think one of those kids is going to be back. But, you know, it's pretty amazing. Derek Dooley, of course, was the head coach of Tennessee and, had awful teams at Tennessee. And he went to the Dallas Cowboys after that and coached in the pros for several years. And, offensively, he's done a pretty good job. Drew Lock was one of the best quarterbacks in the country last year. And then, of course, Kelly Bryant transferring in from Clemson to Missouri as a guy that's, got a chip on his shoulder because he lost the starting job to Trevor Lawrence and actually left in the middle of the season. I still don't know, how Clemson fans think of him. He didn't get a national championship ring, even though he played on 4 of those games they won. But he's a guy that's, I think, can play in the next level, and I think that's the big difference in this game. I think Troy's going to have a hard time, even if they're able to stop the pass. He's just going to beat Troy with his legs.
Yeah. You have to keep containment, that's for sure.
I mean, he's a huge guy, too. He's like 6'4", 220 pounds, big-time athlete.
And he can throw the ball.
Yeah, he's a real dual threat. It's a great opportunity for Troy. They're going to be on the SEC network. Big audience. If Troy could, even if Troy doesn't win, if they could be competitive and have a chance to win, that would be really important. Troy's had 2 heartbreakers. It's like Missouri's coach said, Troy's a play or 2 away from being undefeated.
That's right.
Troy beat Nebraska last year. Of course, that was Frost's first year. And then, of course, they beat LSU and a really good LSU team. That LSU team won 9 or 10 games that year. But I just don't see how there's any way defensively Troy's got enough right now. I mean, we talked about it numerous times, all the guys that transferred out and all the guys that didn't make grades and, another guy with injuries. And it's just made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. There's too much attrition so far.
Well, Coach Lindsey and I, since he's been here, we've become real good friends. And I truly believe, when he tells me, hey, his guys are fired up. I think they went back and they point out they made a few mistakes, and the mistakes that they made, they were costly, in my opinion. And so that's what the difference was with last week. Hey, if they can learn from those mistakes, they're going to be competitive with Missouri. But it's if they learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes me feel somewhat better is the fact they did lose to Wyoming. And I know Troy's got as many athletes as Wyoming.
That's a good point. Well, it'll be a great trip. How many people are going on your dad's trip? Mike?
I don't know. Dad was originally taking a bus with alumni. I don't think they got enough people to go on the bus, so Dad's just flying up on his own, and the alumni have a tailgate party before the game, so any fans out there that are going to the game, you can do that with the Troy Alumni Association. It's a great place to go to a game. I've made that trip before, and St. Louis is a fun town, and Columbia is a really beautiful campus as well. So, but man, I enjoyed it today, guys. I'm about to go see the beach, see what's going on down here. But y'all have a good weekend.
All right, you do the same, Mike.
Good to talk to you, Mike.
You've been watching the Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Picking Show, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler. Jason Gregory is our guest here every day. Also, want to remind everybody today is homecoming at Charles Henderson. The high school games, the huge ones this week, none bigger than Goshen at Luverne, Elba at Brantley, big game, Pike County at Providence, Pike Liberal Arts at Abbeville, college slate, Auburn, Florida is massive. If Auburn could win this ball game, then they get into the LSU game, and everybody's kind of writing Auburn off at LSU. I know that Auburn hasn't won in LSU in forever, but this team might be able to break that streak in Baton Rouge.
Hey, it looks like everyone's been saying in Auburn, hey, just taking one game at a time, and hey, I think that's smart. You know, they talked about all the week
before
that that Mississippi State game could be that
trap
game, and luckily they stayed focused on the game plan, and they pushed forward and they won.
Auburn was embarrassed by Mississippi State last year, and Auburn remembered that, and you could tell. So that shows character right there. The game means something to them. I think Auburn's got great leadership too. That's always important. Anyway, we'll find out. That's why they play the game, so we'll know a lot more late Saturday night. I'm Bill Rice, Jason Gregory for the two Mike Amoses. Thank you for watching the Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep Picking Show, and we'll see y'all on Today in LA next Monday morning. Have a nice weekend.
Are you ready?